Hello, in this video we're going to show you how to build a table of contents using the word built-in facilities, options, functions. So the first thing we need to do is to build some titles that we're going to use. Task 1, Task 2. If you're using or if you're doing an assignment, I always like to start off reading the assignment brief and then just writing out the tasks that I need to complete, and I use those as headings to begin with. So once I've got some headings, what I need to do now is to make these into headings. So the tool here in the Home tab, I've got the option here of selecting this heading 1 style. So I select the heading 1 style and you can see that the text has changed. So I want to format that. So I just go into change the font, make it bold, and I want to change it to black. There we go. So I don't need to do that on all of them, because what I have now, if I highlight this area and then right click on heading 1 and update heading 1 to match selection, you now find that all the heading 1s I create will be in that format. So having now created all of these headings, I now need to make a table of contents. So I go over to references and then I select table of contents and select, in this case, just the first table of contents, and there we go. So we have a simple table of contents. So typically I prefer to have table of contents on a separate page, no matter how big it is. Obviously it depends on the type of report you're building. And now I'm going to just build a new title. So task 5. So let me show you how to create a new title. Again, all I need to do is select the heading, not the title, the heading, and then select heading 1. You can see it formats the new heading. I just space it back. And if I now go up to my table of contents, what I can do is I can right click this. So select and right click. I can. Yep, if I select the tasks and right click, I can update the fields. Or if I just select around about here, I can select update table and then the entire table. And you can see it updates this table to include task 5 and the page numbers. Of course, I can just highlight this and change the color and font type as I need to. Now, one thing that you might do is, I need to change this font type to match the rest of my report. So do this as the last thing you do, because what happens if, for example, you change one of your headings and then you go back and you want to update. When you update a table, well, it just goes back to the old format. So do that the last thing you do. Alternatively, you can change that, but I'm not going to show you that in this tutorial. So now we've got a simple list. I guess most reports will have a numbering system. So let's change this into a numbering system. So I'm just going to highlight all of these, and it's just a simple numbering system, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've got a simple numbering system. So I prefer to have a numbering system with in a report. So there's subsections and they need to be numbered as such. So I choose this option here. And then I like to use numbering system with 1.0, 2.0 and so on. So what I can do is go back to this option here and then define my new numbering format by typing in a 0 right there and press OK. And now you can see my new numbering format for my headings. So with that in place, I now just going to type a few words. So this is task 1 song. So at some point I may have a subsection. So I want to build a subsection, and I need to do that by creating a subsection heading and then go back into my styles and select heading 2. So now this is heading 2 and this is a heading 1. So with that in place, what you're going to find is when you do go back into your contents and you update the table, the subsections will be indented. so you can clearly identify where the subsections are. So that's handy. So going back here, now we need to number this system. So first of all, let's just style it into the same style as our main headings. So we just change that, or a little bit less. So I can then obviously do the same thing here by updating this to match all my subsections that I create. So first of all, I want to apply a numbering system. So I'll go back here and apply my numbering system. There we go. And what I want to do is select this, right click, and then continue the numbering system. So it matches up, or it starts to utilize the current or existing numbering system. You see now it goes to number 2 and these all change. So with that in place, what I can do now is go to the keyboard and press tab as long as the cursor is right here. And you can see now it's 1.1. And I can carry on typing if I need to. So with that in place, let's just do the same thing here again. So basically I just need a sub. Let me put some text here. So we need a subsection. So that's my title of my subheading, sorry. And then I select heading 2. I then can select my numbering system. I then select the number, right click, continue numbering system, and then tab. So there we have another section of my report. So if I wanted to add a new section, if I click right here before the title, press enter on the keyboard, you can see a new section appears. So this is section 2. Or set task, whatever. And obviously I can remove that by just deleting, and it goes back and the number system follows. So that's how to utilize the numbering system. If I now go to my contents here, update the table, there we go. You can see that it now reflects my headings. So you might want to change where this text starts. So what you can do, if you go over to the view and select rulers, what you can do then is just select what the line you want to manipulate, and then select the little bar at the bottom, and then you can start moving where you want the text to start. So select the bar, move it across to be in line with the text that you want to utilize. So that's how to maneuver the text around. You may just prefer it all the way across. So another aspect that you might want to change is the spacing between the number and the title. So how you can do that, if you go back to home and then select what you want to change and then select the paragraph, you need to go into the tabs area, and this here defines the distance between the tabs. So if you decrease this, press OK, you can see that now everything is nicely, the word I'm thinking of is consistent. Everything's nice and consistently lined up. So that's a very simple example of how to build an automatic table of contents with Word.